I think that my knowledge coming out of university was exactly the same as everyone else coming out of university. My dad was a trustee my whole life. I walk out of university not understanding what my dad did. So my knowledge would be very similar to everyone else's knowledge as they come out of university. You understand a little bit that you need to get debt to acquire certain things, but you don't actually understand what happens when a default occurs. And I would say that my knowledge should be even greater just because my father was a trustee. But the first meeting I had when I investigated the career path, I had no idea what insolvency was. At the time, my knowledge was simply that my dad constantly fed me with debt is bad. It was mostly just because my dad was so debt adverse. And I don't think that's generally how people should live their lives, but that's the way that I was brought up. So I walked out of university, got married, and I didn't even have a credit card at the time, and my wife and I were going on a vacation to Hawaii, and I couldn't reserve a hotel. I couldn't do those things just because my whole life I was brought up that you just don't get debt. I even weighed the option of renting versus owning a home. Owning a home acquires an asset, yes, but you also have to deal with all the headaches that come involved with owning a home, like when your water tank breaks. Well, everyone right now, I think, especially with the financial stresses that the current budget has, we're financing these things because we haven't set aside enough money to deal with these miscellaneous costs that come up. And when you consider that if you're financing your water tank and you're financing your furnace, and you're financing your house, all of those interest expense may have been cheaper with just having a rental property. And so these are just considerations. I don't think, like, I own a house. I pay my mortgage. I wasn't able to walk out of university with $300,000 to go pay it for a house. And so I had to finance it as well. But I had at least the consideration of laying out the alternatives rather than just being like, culturally, we walk out of university and we say we want to buy a house, we want to have a car. Okay, well, I can pay rent $1,500 or I can pay a mortgage $1,500. That makes sense, but are you also considering, well, then you've got to get a roof repaired in 10 years. Your water tank's gonna bust. Pipelines bursting. Like, are we prepared as a homeowner to deal with those costs? If we're not, renting might be the better route for you. Even when you're looking at purchases generally, you're looking at a t-shirt. If you buy that t-shirt for $40 on your credit card and you don't pay it off and you stretch that and you're gonna pay 20% interest over that, do you want that shirt if it's $40? Or do you want that shirt for $100? Because that's what you may have to be paying for it. And I'm not saying don't get into debt, but you just wanna make sure that you understand what happens if I don't pay this credit card off at the end of the month. Those are some of the comments that I'd be making to people that are coming out of university